just explode that haircut that little bit more. And that's just down to having that scaffolding and inbuilt layers. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for being here. So on today's video, what we're doing, I'm going to be cutting in the most requested bob of 2024 that you're going to be going to the salon, because what I've seen is so many clients are having their hair cut off, and it is going to be one of the biggest trends for this year that people are going to be adopting. And I'm going to be using texturizing scissors to cut the whole thing. Reason for, I want to stack it with scaffolding, and what scaffolding is putting in layers into the hair rather than working on the exterior of the hair where we normally put layers through here to create layer. I'm going to be actually cutting in here and here and here, and then we're going to take off those ends and we're going to create a beautiful bang on trend bob that is going to be really textured. It's great for thick hair because we're removing bulk, but it's also great for fine hair. So it's down to the diagnosis from your stylist, because it's great for both. Because we're putting scaffolding in, we can be taking away weight. So it's all about looking at the hair type and thinking, God, she's got loads of hair. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put scaffolding in, internal layer, internal layer, internal layer, internal layer, and then take the length off. If somebody has fine hair, you're going to look at it. Let's just take a finer section, like so, and then you'll be looking at it and you'll be thinking, right, I want to encourage volume, I want to encourage thickness. So I'm going to put scaffolding in, but then I'm going to come away and I'm going to put an internal layer, and then I'm going to take away that length. So it encourages the hair to feel fuller, look thicker. And if you've got thick hair, it's a great way to be able to remove the internals of your hair to make it so you can have a swingy bob. Add loads of texture, wear it middle parting, side parting, back. This haircut is going to be one of the biggest trends. So make sure you stick around. If you don't want to see all of me talking about it, you can go to here, and that's where I'm going to start the haircutting. But first of all, I'm going to get into the sectioning pattern, and then we're going to get straight into the haircut. So as you know, I like to keep sectioning patterns very, very simple. I'm not one for putting in millions of sections to confuse the hell out of you. But what we've done is we've worked a middle parting in, because this has already got a fringe. We're going to be using that later. And then I've gone from the high point of the head to just behind the ear, and I've just twisted that section out and mimicked it on the other side. And then the back section is central middle back, occipital bone, middle of the ear, and then we're going to just start putting in our length. And then what we're going to do, we're going to start adding in our texture graduation. So I hope that makes sense. Let me know in the comments down below. And the reason I'm going to be using, and guys, check out my new comb. Check out my new scissors. From there so you can see. So these are ochres, and this is a Cestibon comb. I've linked up with the guys at Yoi Scissors, and everything in the description down below in all my videos now. Electricals that I use, everything that I use in the videos is down there, so you can be able to replicate exactly what I do at home. And there's also some little discount codes down there if you want to take advantage of having any of these tools as well. So let's get into the haircut. So just to show you the scissors, you can see there are 14 tooth or teeth scissor, texturizing scissor. But what is great about this, and a lot of hairdressers just use these for adding texture, taking away bulk, but you can actually cut a whole haircut with them. And that's exactly what I'm going to do today. So I'm going to find my length, which is going to be around about here. So where is that below the hairline? About 2 inches below the hairline. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with these, and I'm going to just go back and forth. And I'll show you why. So it just puts in a really nice textured baseline. You can use them how I did, back and forth like that, or just go in and work your scissors in like so. But you're going to get a beautiful baseline, which is really textured. So that's also a really good way to use them. Put them into your baseline and then just pulling out. And people might say, this is going to take ages. Once you get to grips with them, you'll be flying with these scissors. So you can see I've already put that baseline in, and I'm just going to work this side in as well. So And you can see I'm just doing freehand. I'm just working that lining like that. So we're left with a really nice raw baseline, which is our guide. Now we're going to pull that next section down. Again, 2 inches. We're going to work 2 inches sections. We want to get these haircuts done on the salon floor nice and efficiently. But a key, I suppose the top tip for this is if you can't see your guideline, make the section smaller, because if you can't see your guide, you could be going all over the place when it comes to cutting. So you just want to be making sure that you are working to the same guideline when putting in this length. And I could use normal scissors, just normal straight blades, but I find just using something a little bit different brings a bit of variation to my job. And again, you can see I'm just working that baseline in there, and it's just really nice and choppy. The It Girl bob, similar to the ones that like Alexa Chung, Kate Moss, Sienna Miller, all those guys wore. This is going to be a take on it, but maybe just that little bit shorter. And again, I'm just working to my guide. Let's come to the sides, and then there's not much hair here. So what I want to do is I want to find that guide from the back, which is there, and I'm just going to mimic that line, that guideline, as we come to the front. This is only putting in the baseline because we're going to be working on this haircut anyway internally, so it's going to all soften off. Right, so now we're on to the back section. We're going to section out front to back. Just going to push that forward. I'm going to bring that back here, and again just copy in what you can see on that side on this side, and just pushing that hair forward out the way so it's sectioned. So now we're going to go down middle back again. I'm going to come over from middle of the ear straight over to the occipital bone. We'll section that out, and then we're going to come over from occipital bone to middle of the ear. We're just going to take a central section, and we're taking an inch central section. And my guide is going to be the length. So that's going to be my first cut. So you can see I'm coming 90 degrees from the head, scissors are going in, and then as we pull away, and then as we just take off that point, and you can see we get a beautiful bit of a beveled graduation. Now again, we're going to take this section. We're not going to touch that first section because our guide is the length. If we started using our previous section as a guide, we'd end up taking too much weight away from the previous section, which would take away too much of the shape. So again, we find the length, we go in, we come out, in, out, and then we want to be just taking off that corner or that point. And just so you can see, just gives us that beautiful bit of graduation. We're going to take our next section, and I'm pulling back because I want to maintain length towards the front. Length as a guide, scissors in, and as we're coming away, layer, 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 taking off that length to create that look. Now again, we're coming into a part of the haircut that a lot of people end up there and it pops up a bit. And that's because they move their body position around. If you move your body position around, you're going to be taking off that corner. So what we're going to do is we're going to over direct back, look for the length, there, and just take off like that. and we've maintained that length into that corner. And we'll do exactly the same on the other side. So that's that back section done. Super quick graduation. Now we want to be working up the head to put in more scaffolding, more internal layers and more texture. So you've seen how big that section was there. We're going to now replicate that. So what's that? What would you say? That's about 3 inches, 3.5 inches. So that's how quick this is to be putting in. Again, I'm going to show you this side and I'm just going to get on with the other side because it's exactly the same. So we're going to come through here, take that middle section. I'm just going to pick a tiny bit up from that underneath. I'm just going to drop this down a little bit. Just going to pick up the top bit of the underneath section because I want that to be my guide. So I'm not going to be actually cutting it, but I'm using it as my guide and I'll show you. So here's that section. And then there, it dropping out, is my guide. So I'm going to pull out, I'm going to find it just there at my thumb. I'm going to go in and come out. That's our scaffolding. And then we come out again, layer, layer, layer. And then we're just going to take off that length because that's what's just going to blend in that bob. So there's just a little bit left over. There. And you can see how nice that sits into the nape of the neck. So next section, inch over, grab a bit at the bottom so we know our guide, which is just there. So we're going to put our scissors in, out, and then this is just putting all of that layer into the hair. And then when we speed up on this end, that's where we're taking off a bit of length. So it just sits in beautifully. Next piece, we're going to pull all the way back. Making sure not to pick up any of our previous section, which is there. And I'm going to use that as my guide there. There, internal scaffolding, layer, layer, and then just take off that length. And then we end up with this beautiful textured bob. So now I'm just going to get on with the other side. And there we go. So that is that back section done. Again, you can see how beautifully that just bevels round into that nape. But we've got so much, it looks like it's sort of one length, but we've got so much built-in texture and weight removal and scaffolding and layers in there that you're going to be able to just create loads of different looks with this. When you curl this, it looks unreal because you've got the scaffolding in there. It just looks so full. But then when you're working your styling in, you feel like you've got less hair to manage. But then if you had on the finer side of things, like you wouldn't be, so where I was doing scaffolding, layer, 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 taking off the length, finer hair, you'd do a scaffolding section, you'd do a layer, and then you would have a look at how much hair is left here in the density. If there's not too much, come away, maybe put in another layer, and then just tickle off that end just to keep that baseline nice and full. Right, how quick is this? 3 sections on the back. We're going to go middle back again. So pop those bits to there. And then we literally do 6 sections across the back of the head when we're graduating or adding texture. So here's that section. I'm going to pick up a piece of that. And there is the length where I want to be working from. So what I'm going to do now is hopefully you can see. So there, go in, come away, take off, that tip. And then that'll just sit in really nice, but add in loads of texture to this haircut. Now, because this section on top is so small, we can get away with 2 sections on this back, on this side. So, well, 1 section, should I say. We've done the middle, we've got this side, and then we're going to do the other side. So, again, I'm just going to come back. Be mindful that this is the corner. You don't want to be losing all that hard work you've put in. There's a short piece there, which is from underneath. So that's where I'm going to start to stack this bob. There, layer, layer, take off through there. You see, beautiful shape. I'll just spin around so you can hopefully see another way I do it. So I'm looking for that underneath piece, under piece. So there they are, just dropping out. Get rid. Scaffolding, layer, layer, take off that length. There we go. A beautiful, movable bob. Now, what we're going to do on the sides, I'm just going to straighten her up, get her head in natural position. Natural position. And then what we're going to do is, on the curvature of the head, the parietal ridge, I'm just going to draw a line or a section, and I'm just going to throw that over to there. And then we've got this section here. Now we want to be creating texture in here like we did with the back. And what did we use as the guide? It was our length. So we're going to pull straight out from that section there, 90 degrees from the head, and we'll look for the shortest piece, which is just there. And we're going to go in, and we're just going to tickle off those ends. And then you don't want to be going into the hairline. So what I tend to do, reason for, because you don't want to be putting short pieces that sort of can flick out. You don't want to put scaffold around the hairline because that's where the hair finishes. So what I do is I just zigzag around that hairline to keep that out. Reason for a zigzag, we have pieces that are in and pieces that are out. So there, and there we go. So that's that underneath section done. We're now going to drop this down. I'm just going to split it in to 1 section. I'm just going to pull up a piece from that underneath. We're going to see where it finishes, which is just there. And then again, let's just steal a piece from there. I don't want that fringe because I'm going to be using that in a minute. And that little bit of hairline, I'm just going to drop that out. Just to be mindful, you can take it in, you'll just have loads and loads of texture around the face, a bit sort of shaggy. Pull a little bit up. So 90 degrees from the head, there. Like so. So that's that side done there. You can see loads of movement. I'm going to do exactly the same on the other side, then we're going to jump into the fringe. So there we go, that's that side done as well. Again, zigs out the hairline. Now when we come to this fringe, this is a really cool way of putting in textured bangs, butterfly bangs, face framing. These scissors are literally, if you don't have like multiple tools, and this is one of the things over the years that I've learned, you don't get a plumber come to your house with 1 spanner. You need a lot of tools in your toolkit to do the job well. And a lot of people over the years sort of like, oh God, use thinners or use texturizers. Why don't you just use your normal scissors and create texture that way? You can, but it's not one size fits all. So what we want to do now is that fringe is already in, but you can't really see because it's too long. So what we want to do is we want to draw a section down that middle like that. I'm going to pull a little bit out and throw that back, and I want to know where I'm going to take my length to, and I want this a little bit shorter, so I'm just going to go bridge of the nose, and I'm just putting in a blunt line, but because of these scissors it's a textured line. Now what we're going to do is we're going to pull that guide now up in with this section, and I'm just going to use that as a guide to work a textured fringe in. So now we've got that, and then I'm going to throw this back. I'm going to steal a little bit of that fringe that we put in, and I'm going to take all of this section on this side, which is the side of the fringe. I'll just put it into a triangle, and I'm going to elevate and over direct to the center. And what I want to find is that guide just there. So when we're over the middle, and I'm just moving my fingers up really slowly, just so we can maintain a bit more length. And then what you'll get is a really nice soft face framing fringe. And again, we're going to take this side. We're going to steal a little bit of that fringe we put in earlier. We're going to over direct and elevate over that center. I can see the guide, which is there. Make sure I'm over the middle. I'm going to take my scissors and put in. And then as I'm cutting, I'm just pulling away. Let's get the rest of that fringe in. It's that long bit. There's a long bit come from the back. There we go. So there's a really nice, soft, textured fringe, textured bob in minimal sections, and using 2 clips, but using these, the ochres 14 teeth texturizing scissors. Again, link in the description down below. I'll give you a discount code as well, so you can find there. And if you want to accompany it with one of these combs, that's down there as well. So what we're going to do now is we're going to just dry off. I'm going to wrap dry, just back and forth, so we can just create as much sort of smoothness in there as possible, and then just get a little bit of sort of zhuzhing so you can see the texture in this haircut. So join me once I've finished blow drying. Right guys, so that is the finished result as it seems. It looks just like a bob, one of the biggest trending haircuts right now. The bob, the grunge bob, the French bob, the graduated bob. But what is in here that I want to open up is all of that scaffolding and texture built in. So when you come to recommending to your clients this type of haircut, yes, they can wear it very, very sleek, as you can see there, with some nice little bangs. Let's take those clips out. Let it down a little bit. So there, just a really cute little bob. Let's open it up a little bit. And you've got something just a bit grungier, sexier, more textured, being able to just explode that haircut that little bit more. And that's just down to having that scaffolding and inbuilt layers into that haircut. So you can call it like a little bit of like a shag bob, one of the biggest trending bob haircuts right now. But just so you can see, just sits beautiful and smooth. But when you open it up, like a maraca, is that what they were called? Maracas? There's just so much more built in. So you've got a one length bob, but you've got loads and loads of texture all built in there. And what I'll do with this next is I'll turn it into a actual shag bob, and we'll be using those scissors again, the ochre texturizers, and I'll give you a little sneak peek of what I will do. So whereas we've already got all that built in, and we've just got a really nice smooth bob through there, but built-in texture, so great for thick hair, great for fine hair, as I was saying. But when it comes to what we want to do next, I'm going to use the length there as my guide, and we're going to be going really quite heavy in throughout there to take off more length off of this top section, so we've got more of a shaggier bob. So let me know in the comments down below what you think to this. Would you do it? A really quick way to put in a really nice bob that looks long, not long, but looks one length, but you've got a lot of sort of variation that you can do with it, just to be able to open it up and open up all of that scaffolding and layers that are in there. So if you're new, please hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up and comment down below what you think about this video. Until next time, I'll see you on the next video.